Hey, it's Gabriel here at Nervous Nellies, and I'm doing the intro this week.
Yay!
So, Jared and I are just a couple of middle aged gay homosexuals. We are not therapists, we're not doctors. We are not in any position to diagnose or treat or offer any kind of medical advice, but we will be discussing our mental issues with each other, and you can listen in. Maybe we'll touch on some things that you'll find helpful. On with the show.
You get peace and content and joy. The courage comes from the gods. The courage comes from the
Time
gods.
for check-in.
Yes, hello. How are you doing this week?
Good. A lot better than last week. Last week I had some bad time at work, but everything is kind of settled down. I got my tooth extracted, which I talked about last week, and I've gone through the healing process. It's been a week exactly since I got it, so I had to take a couple days off work, which was
Lucky.
I know, which was good just for the psyche, but
You're
You
so
know,
lucky. You got days off of work.
and all I had to do was get a tooth broken
You get all the fun.
How was your week?
The courage comes from the gods.
And I don't know what's going on.
Where were they?
Well, sometimes they're like right next to me, but the other two times I just had like a leg outside of my underwear.
Uh-huh.
And then yeah, I don't know what's going on
Did
there.
you have any dreams that you remember?
Not that I can recall, but I don't know. I don't know what that's about. I mean, clearly I'm the one that's doing it. Kenneth knows better than to try and,
Pants you
well,
during
once I'm
sleep?
asleep, he knows to
Yeah.
leave me asleep because I have such a hard time, such a difficult relationship with sleep that, he knows not to mess with it. But aside from that,
Even if you didn't have a difficult relation with sleep, if somebody woke me up to have sex, I would be livid.
yes, yeah, that's not a thing you do.
No.
No, not in this house.
Mm-mm.
But also, the summer has been so brutal and so tough
So
on
hot.
all of us. Yeah, my
Mhm.
poor dogs, they just want to go outside and play, which we would
Aw.
normally let them do, but it's like 110,
Uh-huh.
and that's just we're not going to do that. That's not good pet parenting.
No.
And then Kenneth and I were feeling both of us just feeling crappy last week. I was wake up at 9-10 in the morning, and then I would need a nap at around 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then back in bed by like 7 or 8. It was a lot of sleeping happening for about 4 days. And then one of those days I woke up in the middle of the night with a really bad nosebleed,
Oh.
which is always kind of startling, I think.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people that would be startling, but I've had these since I was a child. My sister and I both would get really bad nosebleeds on the way to my grandma's house
Mm-hmm.
in the summertime when we were kids. And so I'm pretty used to it. They last about, 10, 15 minutes.
Why did you get them on the way to your grandma's house?
Something about sleeping in the hot Aerostar van on the way to San Antonio.
Okay.
Yeah, one of us would just wake up with a nosebleed. And it's always my left nostril, never my right. I don't know what that's about. A doctor once said that they could cauterize it.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, just stick a hot needle up your nostril
Uh-huh.
and get rid of all of those pesky blood vessels.
I think they numb it with cocaine first.
You know what's weird? I never go for the numbing stuff.
No?
No.
We just want them to stick a hot poker up your nose?
I mean, a couple of times, like at the dermatologist, whenever I've needed things looked at,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, "Well, we'll apply some numbing stuff," and I'm always like, "Nah, don't bother," and they just go at it with a needle.
Ow.
Yeah, it never bothers me.
Well, I mean, I guess like skin stuff, but if they're going inside your nose, I think you would want something.
Yeah. How did you handle COVID tests? Were you okay with those?
Yeah, I was okay with it. especially once we got to where we had the like self-testing. But yeah, with the COVID test, I would just count to 3 and shove it up there and hope for the best. I don't think I...
You know, that's actually exactly how I have sex.
That's good. Maybe that's why Kenneth's de-pantsing you in the middle of the night.
Shut up. Yeah, I never had any issues with it. No nosebleeds, no sneezing, no headaches afterwards. But yeah,
It just made my eyes water.
No, it didn't even really do that.
Really?
Yeah, no. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about anger, which is a really easy, or it's easy to access emotion, especially in this god awful heat. Yeah. Have you noticed that once it gets really hot, people just go nuts?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you know in like Texas prisons, there's no air conditioning in the summer is like the most fights of all year, just because
there's no air conditioning.
There's no air conditioning.
That
I've
is
heard
so cruel.
in Texas prisons.
Yeah. That is absolute cruelty.
Yeah, it's horrible. And there's a bunch of people there for like marijuana or like a little bit of drugs or...
I'm going to stop you there. Did your country accent just come out? Did you say marijuana?
I may have. Marijuana.
No judgment. I was
Sometimes
just curious.
It comes out. I've said pillar on accident when I meant pillow. I've said winder instead of window.
Yeah, my husband, who's from East Texas, once said washcloth. Or he said turlet.
Turlet. I like that one. That's my favorite.
Okay, I laughed a little bit too hard at that. Anyway.
I don't think I've said that, but that made me happy.
Yeah, that's my husband. Anyway, anger. It's a vital emotion, I think, that belongs in the spectrum of emotions. I know it gets a really bad rap, and there's a lot of negativity attached to that emotion, but super important to have. Keeps you safe.
Motivating.
Right. But, you know, I think in this sense, we're going to be talking about two different kinds of anger, right? We're going to be talking about anger directed at somebody or something, and then that kind of generalized anger, right? The kind you might just have at the world, right?
Especially today. Well, not today. I just mean in today's times, all days today.
Yes. Yeah. You know, it is really important to have that anger, not all the time.
No.
So when you do get angry, first of all, this is kind of a weird question. Where in you, Jarrod, where does anger live? Does that question make sense? Okay.
Anger lives in my head and my chest, my heart and my brain. Yeah. Like I can actually feel it. And then if I get angry enough, like it travels up. Oh my God. What's the thing from
Clue?
Clue.
Are you gonna quote Clue?
Yeah, what is it?
Flames.
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 On the side of my face.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's literally what it feels like. So yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with my therapist earlier today because he was asking me about he gave me a task to kind of what did he call it? Like just sit in the discomfort of something, right? Something that's going to trigger me.
Yeah.
Trigger an anxiety attack. And I went for a haircut, and I haven't had a professional haircut in maybe 2 years since the lockdown.
Oh yeah.
And I went, which by the way is a great injustice when you're losing your hair. You still have to go get a haircut, and you still have to pay full price, even though they're doing half the work. I have nothing on top, and yet I still have to go sit in line with all of these guys with beautiful heads of hair. Yeah.
That's why I bick it.
Well,
although razors are pretty damn expensive.
Yeah. Well, I'm not quite there yet. I still have enough.
Yeah, you do.
I still have enough on top to have a little bit of fun.
I have like the full Bozo the Clown all the way to the back of my head.
So I'm heading in that direction. And I only know that because that's how my dad is. Anyway, so I went and I had a haircut, and I was determined to get through the entire haircut without having an anxiety attack.
Okay.
And the reason I'm always triggered with haircuts is I've got... it's like a type of claustrophobia where if I'm told or if I have to sit still and I can't move, you know, I feel confined, I feel trapped, and I freak out. So the way I cope with that is I'll move my arms, I'll move my legs just to remind myself that I've got freedom. And then I could get up and leave if I wanted to. Nothing's holding me down. And, you know, this kind of situation only happens when I'm in a dentist chair, optometrist, a barber, right?
Mm-hmm.
A salon, and I'm told to sit still. As soon as I'm told to sit still, I lose my shit. And so I was trying to get through this haircut without any problem, and I just couldn't do it. And I was trying to keep remembering what my therapist said, to just sit in the discomfort,
Mm-hmm.
figure out where you feel it in your body,
Mm-hmm.
and then try to address it. And really, I think what happened was I was starting to get angry at the poor girl cutting my hair,
Mm-hmm.
and I could feel the anger in my chest,
Uh-huh.
right, like the little bit of the heart palpitations, and then also my throat. Like I really,
Oh, but that's like anxiety too, right?
yes, but also yeah. I mean, I guess how it translates. I don't really know, right, or how it turns itself into something else.
Yeah.
But I just became irrationally angry at this girl, and
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Oh, that's good.
No, I know I've learned how to control myself,
Yeah.
right? But man, that feeling of I was about to yell
Mm-hmm.
was in the back of my throat, and I just had to stifle it because, I don't want to.
No,
I don't want to make a scene, right? And then also, it's not this person's fault.
No, that's the key thing to keep in mind when the anger comes. Is that it's not. That's what I've always said. My anger is like, and I've worked on it. But my anger is like laser beams coming out of my eyes, and once I'm angry, whatever I focus on, it will be pointed at that. Like if I'm angry at one thing, it doesn't matter. Like my brain completely shifts, my perspective of the world changes, and whatever I focus on, I'll get angry about that too.
Yeah.
Until the whole thing passes.
Yeah. Yeah. Suddenly, I mean, when you're angry, suddenly everything and everyone is out to get you, and everything's rotten.
Everything's it's so interesting to me because your perception of the world literally changes, and you have to have that voice in your head. Like when I get that angry, I can't fix it and I can't see through it. I can only remind myself that this is me angry. Don't make any decisions. Don't act out. And this will change, even though if you asked me, like, what is your perception of this person? It would be totally different than it is when I'm not angry. And maybe that doesn't sound like a huge, in-depth idea, but to me it's just interesting because it's my personality changes.
Yeah, no, that's a really good coping mechanism, I feel, is to just kind of stop, take a breath, understand where you are, try to see the other person's point of view, and just, regain focus, regain your sense of reality. Yeah, no, that's great. That's really good. I used to think it was always really corny when people would say things like, stop and count to 5 or count to 10 or whatever. But that shit works.
Yeah, it'll keep you from it. And I think people shouldn't necessarily expect that counting to 5 or 10 will make the anger go away, but it will keep you from acting a fool.
Yeah. One of the bigger things, right, is getting the anger to go away. And that might not be a possibility.
I don't. It just has to kind of run its course.
Well, I've always found, for me, the best thing is to, whether it's anger or love or whatever emotion that we're going to be talking about, the best way that I've always handled it is to just find the best way to make it work for you, right? So, as a creative, I really try my best to put that anger or that rage or that depression or whatever it is into whatever it is I'm making, and I feel so much better just getting it out there.
And a lot of people channel it. I mean, people have changed the world based on their anger towards how society functions and people that are left out and things that are unjust, and that anger motivates them.
Right. I believe his name is David Hogg. He was one of the, he was one of the students that was caught in a school shooting, I believe in Florida, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And he uses his anger toward about gun control and goes on speaking tours. And that's great.
Yeah, he's affecting change.
Yeah, he's doing what he can to make sure that other people, other students stay safe. And he's trying his hardest to change policy and legislature. how effective is it? I don't know that that really matters at this point, right? We're just talking about making sure that your anger doesn't, you know, run away with you.
Yeah, that it doesn't control you, that you can channel it into something that you can control.
Right. And that's a really important, vital lesson, I think, for people to learn when it comes to controlling their anger. Yeah.
And that's another thing that I always want to talk about in this podcast, is that a lot of people think anger is bad or anger is a sin. It is a natural human response. And I get so, not tired, but I get angry with people beating themselves up, or other people telling someone, no, that emotion's not right. That emotion's a sin. You should, no. It is perfectly normal, but it's how you deal with it that makes a difference. So if Gabriel freaked out and yelled at that girl, no, that's not good. Now, if he channels that anger and creates art with it, I mean, that's the best you can do.
Right. And so when I'm in that position, when I'm in that moment, and I feel like this girl is taking a really long time because she's trying to taunt me, she's trying to tease me, really push me to the edge. And honestly, that's where my brain goes.
Yeah.
That's how I'm responding, right? Because I just really want to yell to hurry the fuck up. But, you know, we talked about this last time, feelings aren't fact, right?
Yeah.
I'm feeling that way, but that's not actually what's going on. What's going on is this is how long it takes to get your hair cut. And, you know, you just have to just keep as grounded as possible in rationale and reality. And just remember that this person is not out to get you. This is just how long it takes.
Right.
Yeah. That's a really hard thing to keep in mind.
It's hard.
Yeah, it's very, very hard. I just said that.
It's hard.
So when it comes to like anger towards someone, right, we can kind of figure out ways to alleviate that, right? We try to understand what that person, where that person's coming from. We try to put ourselves in their position and see their point of view.
Right.
Which, again, is a skill that takes a lot of practice.
But it's really useful.
It is. But then how do you handle just general anger, right? Like anger at the world, anger at things you can't control. That's the hardest.
It's very difficult.
I mean, sometimes that will translate into acting out towards a person there in front of you, right? You're just so angry about child labor laws in China, and you don't really know what to do about it, so you just take it out on somebody here at home. That's not cool.
No.
Just in case there was any confusion.
Yeah, no.
That is not cool. But general anger, what do you do about it? How do you do that?
I don't know. Like what I do about it, I think about things that I feel are unjust, make me very angry. People even tell me stories about what happened to them at their job, and I get angry. I don't know what I do about it other than when I speak to people, I give them my opinion, my peace of mind on how I think things should be. That sounds weird, but just what in a just world, what would be the case, or like empathize with those people that are in that bad position. I mean, what do you do? I know you're a creative type, and I'm not.
But
so.
I'm also a boss, right? And I don't handle anybody.
Employees.
I work with employees who are much younger and much more. They are still passionate about life and world events, whereas I'm jaded and old. And they'll talk to me about their concerns about what's going on between Russia and Ukraine, or just general things that are upsetting. And I really do my best to not be one of those bosses that's like, yeah, that's real sad, and I'll get back to work.
Yeah.
I try to listen to their concerns. I try to remind them, like, you're doing the best you can, but it's also really important for you to remember that you're not going to be able to fix this in one day.
Right.
And I know that that's really frustrating. I know that's really, that makes you even more angry, but you have to be really choosy. You have to choose carefully with what challenges you take on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Like the things you pick, your causes that you
Right.
pick.
What hills you're going to die on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I have one employee that I just feel for them, right? Because they're so empathetic and so sensitive, and they are so caring that they want to fix every injustice in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't have the heart to tell them, like, you're going to have to put some of those back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, and unfortunately they'll come to that in time. I mean, I used to want to do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
but then not that you should not do it, but there are plenty of people that you will want to help that will just take advantage
Well,
of you.
I mean, I think you have to set a boundary, right?
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
I know, but you have to, to the best you can of your ability, you have to create a boundary within yourself that says that this is a challenge that I'm willing to take on,
Mm-hmm.
and that I'm willing to fight
Mm-hmm.
for, right? And then this is a challenge that is a bit much,
Right.
and I may have to revisit this at some point.
Right.
That doesn't mean you're abandoning it or leaving it for someone else to fix. It just means that you have enough on your plate,
Mm-hmm.
and that's okay.
It is okay, and that's the thing that you and I kind of want to get out on the table on this podcast. It's like the complexities of feeling like that I do have anger towards injustices, but I'm not actually doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so then it gets compounded like with guilt or this feeling that I should drop everything in life and go build schools for children or do you ever feel like that? I get overwhelmed with it sometimes. I guess because I have this like...
Yeah, that's how I ended up with all these goddamn animals. Because I just, you feel
Yeah.
so bad. You get so
Mhm.
angry at all of these neglectful
Mhm.
pet owners, and they just let their animals run wild,
Mhm.
and then they end up lost. And
Hurting.
yeah, what are you going to do? So I've taken in as much as the law will allow me.
Well, I mean, I think that's amazing.
Well, thank you. And I only do it for the praise. but also because, I love them so much.
Yeah.
And it's one thing I can do,
Yeah.
right?
But I guess my thing that I was saying is we need to, and I'm saying this because I do it to myself, like when you can't fix all the injustices, you need to be nice to yourself because nobody can fix them all.
Yeah. In those situations, I tend to, I feel like leading by example is probably the
Mhm.
best thing you can do.
You do really good stuff.
Well, thank you. I don't always see it, but I feel like, if I can't fix what's going on in the world, or if I can't fix
Mhm.
what's going on in my state, I can at least be a kind, better person.
Yeah, that's always the view I take. It's like you can help people just by being kind and nice to them on a daily basis. Like that might
Right.
change the course of their day.
Yeah, just as much as hostility, aggression, and
Mhm.
anger will rub off onto someone else's day,
Yes.
so will kindness,
Yes, it's all
patience.
highly contagious.
and- yeah. Yeah, being polite, just the simple act of being
Mhm.
polite, saying thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am.
Mhm.
I mean, that really, really goes a long way. And I
Mhm.
say that as somebody who works in customer service and retail,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
So if you are looking for a way to brighten someone's day and be the good force
Mhm.
you wish to see in the world, just say thank you.
Mhm. That's also one way to start climbing your way out of a pit of anger is that whole quote, fake it till you make it thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're like really angry, but you can interact with people and do your best to be kind and understanding and sympathetic, even if you don't feel that way, it'll
Yeah.
start to lighten up.
So when you say fake it till you make it, you say it with was there like some like negative connotations attached to
No,
that?
I just meant like quote. I was just quoting
Okay.
fake it because it's a quote. No,
Yeah.
I mean I guess it could be, but
I
I think it's
think it's-
applicable in a lot of.
I think it's a
situations.
legit way
Yeah.
of handling your
Mhm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're an astronaut, don't try to fake that. But
let me tell you, I've been running my own business for about almost 10 years, and every day is a faking it till you make it
I think that's
kind of thing.
it's really a good quote for life. I mean, like that's just how life is. There are no answers to anything.
Yeah, I prefer to think of it as adapt or die.
Adapt or die. I like that.
Okay, so let's say that you, Jarrod, are just filled to the brim with anger.
Mm-hmm.
What are some good ways? What do you do to make sure that that anger does not spill over, or that your anger doesn't get that high?
So a lot of times I'm a very moody person. My mood changes all the time. So a lot of times the best thing I can do is to let the people around me know I feel very angry. I feel very overwhelmed. My point of view changes. The best thing is probably like not to interact with me very much. And that's not for like days or weeks, but
Sure.
maybe like half the day or a whole day at work. And they know me, like if I say that, it's for everybody's benefit, because my mind gets so warped when I'm angry that I will feel justified in being an asshole. And
Yeah.
there is never a justification for that.
Right. Yeah, there's never justification for taking it out on someone else.
No, never.
Yeah. Let's see. I did look up some useful, helpful tips on
good.
how to minimize anger. Think before you speak, which is not always easy to do in the heat of the moment.
No.
But if you can, if you're capable, right? Like if you are out somewhere and you have to go home and you know that you're going to be in a fight as soon as you get home, maybe use that opportunity to really think about what you're going to say. Maybe.
Yeah, and it's really practice in these situations, because the anger will lead you to say anything that's in your brain. And you have to, like, little things like this, if you can keep it in mind, okay, I'm angry. That doesn't change how I am viewing the world right now, but I know I should be doing these things like stop, think, breathe. And you can get in a habit of it, so at least it won't make it go away, but you won't be
right.
an ass.
Yeah, and if you are going into a situation where there is going to be a battle, it is best to hold your position, right? You know, if this is a legitimate debate that two adults are having, to keep it from becoming hostile, you know, stand your ground with your points, be assertive, but also use I statements instead of you. You. It's your fault. You did this to me. You're the reason I'm pregnant. I don't know why I went with that example.
But that's good. No, you should say, I feel like this.
Yeah.
This makes me feel.
I think it's this, or
My personal opinion is
wrong.
Wrong, always.
Take a time out.
Time out.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I do. Like, I'll take a shower.
Don't say doo-doo in the shower.
I'll take a shower.
Don't say doo-doo in the shower.
Hopefully I can say I've never doo-dooed in the shower. I'm not sure. But, yeah, just getting away from everything and sitting down.
Yeah. Yeah, do you meditate at all?
I don't meditate, no, but I do separate myself from situations when I get really upset.
Can you meditate?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess. I mean, I think I used to be very into it and interested in the philosophy of Buddhism, and I think meditating in and of itself, no matter what you do, is an act of meditation.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the history of meditation, right?
Either.
Other than that it's an Eastern practice, Eastern philosophy, and maybe what I consider to be meditation is heavily influenced by Western practices. But the whole concept of clearing your mind is not something that will function with me or work with me. I have to just acknowledge that I'm having thoughts and then let them pass.
Oh, you mean like, can I meditate as far as does it do anything?
Well, that too.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
But it takes a long time
It
for
takes
it
practice.
to start doing anything. And
Yeah.
like it literally, there are electronic differences in brain patterns of people that meditate every day and people that don't. But I mean, it's a long time before you start.
Still, don't let that deter you. Right? You should practice. Get that look off your face, Jarrod.
I like instant gratification.
We all do.
I know. That's part of the issue.
Okay, so maybe it's not meditation, but do you at least take moments to relax?
Yes. I take moments to relax. Like, if I get upset at work, I'll go walk around the block. I'll go play spades on an app on my phone. Just something to where I can have something to focus on other than my anger. What about you?
Okay, so yeah, I'm glad you asked because I do want to put my 2 cents in here. How you relax is completely on a personal,
Mhm.
person by person, personal basis, right? Because how I choose to relax isn't the standard hot shower, hot bath, or
Mhm.
anything like that. I like projects.
You do like projects.
Yes.
Mhm.
I like to tinker. I like to make things. I like to
Mhm.
figure out how things work. I like projects.
Mhm.
And that is how I relax. It sometimes my mind will just empty out. I'll focus on what it is that I'm doing, and I'm at peace. And then afterwards, I feel great. I feel like I just got out of a therapy session. Like, yeah, that's how I relax.
I mean, I think that's good. That's how a lot of people relax because it helps you focus on something else instead of just sitting in nothingness
there's
and
a lot
trying
of-
not to think.
There's a lot of pressure, and we'll talk about this soon in our next episode when we talk about self-care.
Self-care.
But I feel like there's a lot of pressure from media on what is and what isn't relaxing or a
Yeah, because they want to
technique.
sell you the things
True.
that are quote unquote relaxing.
But yeah, like a hot bath, I don't find that relaxing.
I do.
Yeah, for me in
Yeah.
my screwed up
Mhm.
head, I see a hot bath as just like human soup.
Soup. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm not into that. I don't want to bathe in, I don't want to sit in a pond of my filth.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I don't find that relaxing.
I always. What do I do? No,
Oh
I
my
take a
God,
bath
did I-
first and then a shower. Huh?
Did I send you photos of when I was trying to be self-caring and I got myself a bath bomb?
Yes, it
And
looked like doo doo.
Yes,
Yeah.
it on the package it was like purple and sparkly, and then I put it in the tub to fizz and and then once I agitated the water and it started to really dissolve, it turned brown.
Brown. Yeah, you sent me
Yes.
the picture.
Yeah, it looked like I was bathing in a porta potty.
It was doo doo brown.
It was so gross.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Okay, so for you,
Mm-hmm.
do you know when it's important to seek help? Like, can you differentiate between, okay, this is something that will pass, I just need a moment to myself, and this anger is not going away, I just want to hit people all the time, I really need intervention?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, as I'm over 40 now, I don't get to that point very often where it won't go away.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had it plenty when I was younger, and I tried lots of different coping mechanisms that weren't useful. But yeah, I did end up going to therapy, and anger was something that we talked about a lot.
That's good.
What about you?
I don't get angry that often, which is kind of strange, right?
Mhm.
I feel like I'm in a constant state of agitation or annoyed,
Mhm.
but like anger, that kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just my idea of what anger is, right? Like,
What do you think it is?
well, the only thing I have to go on is what I saw growing up from my family,
Mhm.
right? That kind of guttural yelling and screaming at each other, tears in the eyes, really manic
Mhm.
arm movements and hand movements, and a lot of is there going to be fists? Are there going to be slaps?
Mm.
I've never been to that point. Maybe a handful of times in my
Mhm.
life, but that's how I view or what I think anger is.
I think that's pretty extreme on the spectrum, but I think annoyance, not that you're wrong, I'm just
Sure.
saying like annoyance to me falls on the spectrum too.
Yeah, but it's not as extreme.
Oh
right?
no, not at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty defiant sister growing up, so I would see my parents get really angry, and then a lot of yelling, screaming
Mhm.
matches going on back in the 80s and 90s. Lots and lots of yelling, which I told myself as a small child I would never yell.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't think I even developed those muscles.
Yeah, I've never heard you really raise your voice.
No, I've decided I decided when I was a small child I would rather use my vocabulary and get my point across as effectively as possible than just this wild
Mm-hmm.
wall of sound like my mother. My mom, who I love dearly, is just this, oh my God, she's so loud. Whether she's happy or angry or whatever, there's always going to be some loud sound coming out of her.
Mm-hmm.
And I never wanted to be like that.
But that's good. I mean, that extreme side of the spectrum is not useful. It doesn't.
But sometimes I feel like I could have really benefited from, yelling, right? Even if I'm just alone in my car yelling.
Yeah, I have done that before. That it is kind of cathartic.
Yeah, I've never done that. I don't think I'm able to do that. I think if I tried that, I would really hurt myself.
Yeah.
So I mean, I can, I can get loud enough to like scold my animals or to call them in, but I've never like yelled in anger. That kind of gravelly.
I think that's why my voice is gravelly all the time now.
From yelling? Yeah.
No, I mean, I haven't been a big yeller. I was definitely not. My parents weren't big yellers, but my grandmother, I favor my grandmother, and anger is our number one go-to, and we feel justified. And I have to remind myself all the time that is not. I am not justified, and even if I am, what's the point of putting that out into the world?
Right. Yeah. Maybe my way of of being as cynical and sarcastic and witty, if you want to call me that, is just my way of expressing my anger or irritation.
I think humor, witty, cattiness. That's the way a lot of gay men have worked on expressing their anger.
Right.
Shade.
But I feel like that has been more beneficial to me than yelling.
But that's good because you're very good at it. Like, you're very funny. You can say very dry, shady things, but people know that it's kind of a joke. So I think that's a good coping mechanism.
I was wondering if you were going to finish that word.
Mechanism.
All right. So another point that I have here is to look for solutions, which I'm a big fan of, right? I see absolutely 0 point in just bitching for the sake of bitching.
Yeah, no.
I don't ever want to hear somebody just gabbing to hear themselves talk. I want to hear solutions, and I want to hear them now. Because without solutions, you're just filling the room with hot air, and that helps no one.
That is true. I mean, I know that's as far as some people can get. Like, they just don't know how to, which is not like a judgment or looking down type thing. But,
if you're with friends and you just want to bitch, that's cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
but if you're in a meeting...
Oh, yeah.
Right? And you just want to bitch? No, that's not constructive.
No.
I mean, I get why you might want to bitch. I get why, you're bothered. But let's think of solutions. Let's come up with a way that we can resolve the problem or change habits or patterns. And so we can move on. But
healthy solutions.
Healthy solutions, yes.
Yeah, my coworker loves me because anybody...
Sorry, there's something about the word solutions that really triggered my dog.
Solution. Get that solution.
All right, she's leaving the room.
But, my coworker said she loves me because if anybody does any slight to her and she tells me about it, I'm like, where do they live? What's their car look like? I'll throw a brick through the window.
How do you feel about exercising as a means of getting rid of anger?
I think it's a idea... It's great. You know what? So, I mean, it is extremely effective. So I've been at my job it's fine. It doesn't bother me. I've been at my job for 5 years, and, I'm extremely, I take a lot of things personal, which is not great in my line of business, but I learned about a year ago when I get so upset because I feel like everything's going wrong and the world is against me that day. If I walk outside and hustle around the block 4 or 5 times, it'll ease up where I can think.
Yeah. I really, when I first read that, my first thought was, well, you can't be angry if you're exhausted.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, I think
All right. You ready to summarize everything we just said?
Yes.
All right. So if you're angry... You want to exercise? You want to use I statements. If you can, use humor,
Mm-hmm.
preferably if you're funny. Take a time out.
Mm-hmm.
Really think about what you're going to say.
Mm-hmm. You could count.
Mm-hmm. Try counting.
Count to 5 or 10 before you say anything.
Before you even get angry, you can try relaxation techniques,
Mm-hmm.
such as meditation. But really, any relaxing thing that you can do that works best for you, do it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and a couple of big things that cause anger physiologically: hunger
Mm-hmm.
and being tired.
Yes. So get plenty of sleep
Yeah.
and eat the
And
proper
eat.
foods. Yeah,
Mhm.
have a good diet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest thing that we want to go back to, want to revisit, is practice empathy and
Mm.
being nice. Be
Mhm.
kind. Being kind is the best way to not only get rid of your own anger,
Mm-hmm.
but also hopefully dissipate a lot of the
Mhm.
hostility and aggression around you.
But also, don't beat yourself up if you can't do it every time. My mom says sometimes the best you can do in a day is not run somebody over with a car.
That's true.
But
Yeah, and that is also a really good way, good reminder that know when to seek help,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Know when to have an intervention and seek professional aid
Mm-hmm.
when you're not able to control your anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the last thing that I will revisit is know your limits,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can't
Yeah.
take on the world's problems. You can only take on so much.
Mm-hmm.
And be comfortable with the idea that you won't be able to solve everything.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
I think that's it.
Yeah. I
Are
think
you
that's
angry at me?
good. Am I angry at you?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm always in a state of anger with you.
I feel like it. You look like it all the time.
Yeah, I grew up with this face. It's what the
I've
kids
only
have
been looking
called,
at it for almost 20 years
yeah,
now.
it's what the kids call resting bitch face.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I have the face that I have. And no, there's a pretty good chance I'm not angry with you.
That's great.
Yeah. I feel like if I was angry with you, you'd know.
Oh, yeah. I think yeah.
Yeah, I don't hide it very well.
No, I don't either.
Yeah. Are you angry?
No,
Good.
not right now.
Good. Grundy, my dog Grundy is just here at my feet. Are you angry? No.
Yes. She wants
No.
to go outside.
Well, too bad. It is 108. All right. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast. Leave a 5-star review, and we'll do our best to read your review on the next episode.
Mm-hmm.
Jared, were you going to say something?
I was going to say follow us on Instagram at The Nervous Nellies, Nellies. If you have comments, questions, you want to continue the conversation, email us at thenervousnellies@gmail.com.
Yes, and Jared, what can you tell us about the Patreon?
The Patreon, we have it set up. It's got 2 levels. There's a $1 level where you get our undying gratitude. And then there is a $5 level where you get early access to the episodes. And you can find our Patreon at...
Instagram.
Go to Instagram. Go to our Instagram page. There's a link.
Yeah, there's a link there. And yes, just to piggyback on that, all the money that we collect from our Patreon, 50% will be donated to the Trevor Project, and the other 50% will go towards maintaining this podcast.
The powers come from the gods. The powers come from the gods. You can misuse your power otherwise.
Bye.